Namaste, my dear friends. So today I'm going to touch the topic connected with fresh Amanita Muscaria. Can you eat it? Is it safe? What is the effect from fresh Amanita Muscaria compared to dry Amanita Muscaria? So let's dive a little bit deeper into this topic. So first of all, Amanita Muscaria has a lot of healing components, but the three which are the most interesting for us is the ibotenic acid, it's the muscimol and muscarine. So eventually the ibotenic acid is the main component in the Amanita muscaria that has a certain, I cannot say that it's toxic, but I can say it has definitely a physical reaction on the body. The ibotenic acid, when you use it, it can create a feeling of nausea, a feeling of overstimulation. I like to compare it that when you consume Amanita and it has a lot of ibotenic acid, you would get an effect that on one hand, inside of your consciousness, you're very focused, like you think fast, you understand fast, but your body is being controlled as if it's being drunk. So it's a very interesting thing that on one hand, you think very fast, but on the other hand, you're starting to lose control over your body. What does it mean? That literally as when you're drinking a big amount of alcohol, you would try to stand up and your standing up would happen slowly, or you would be walking and a little bit the body might be shaking. So eventually in ancient times, Amanita was often being described that magical mushroom which makes you bright and drunk at the same time. That effect that your body is being drunk under this mushroom, it is an ancient fact. An interesting story is even connected with the Rig Veda books, connected with our previous civilization, which lived over 5,000 years ago, where they're describing the drink soma, in which one of the components from our studies, which we have discovered, is Amanita muscaria. And that soma has exactly, we understood it, that it's Amanita muscaria because there are not so many mushrooms or so many plants which create a feeling of being drunk in your physical body. So of that reason, it is very good to know the effect. So fresh Amanita can produce more nausea and body discomfort because the ibotenic acid hasn't been converted into muscimol. In ancient times, what they did, they tried the mushroom, or for example, in the north, the Siberians, they gave it to eat for the reindeer. The reindeer ate it through their liver. It was filtered out, and you would receive the urine, which is enriched with all of the healing components of Amanita, but filtered out all of the ibotenic acid. So as a result, through that, people, when they were consuming Amanita, they were getting the biggest amount of benefits. At the same time, you have to know that Amanita muscaria, when you eat it fresh, sometimes people can really say that it's psychoactive. It doesn't bring you to a psychedelic journey. No, you see everything clear. But you definitely are in a journey because it is quite funny that you think fast, you understand fast, you kind of look on everything so consciously, and then at the same time, you walk as a really, really drunk guy, your body starts to feel drunken, and eventually there's a very high percentage that you will vomit. And interesting fact about ibotenic acid, that in Amanita muscaria family, we have over 40 different types of Amanita muscarias. Yeah, the most popular ones, and which we know, it's Amanita muscaria, the red one, Pantarina, and the regalia. In Russian, it's even called the King's Amanita. So each one of these, it has a different amount of ibotenic acid. And I'll go even deeper. The red Amanita growing in different parts of the world has a different percentage of ibotenic acid, has a different percentage of psychoactive components, and even the ibotenic acid, the concentration can be very different. This is why so far from what we have studied together, my friends and scientists, that the most, let's say, effective and best Amanita for consumption with the smallest amount of ibotenic acid, it grows exactly in Russia, and in Europe. For example, if you gather Amanita muscaria in US or Canada, it has a more higher level of ibotenic acid. With what it's connected? Well, we still have many things to study, but if you're gonna eat a fresh Amanita, for example, in Europe, and eat a fresh Amanita in Canada or in the US, you're gonna have different effects. And there's a very high chance that eating the fresh Amanita in the US will bring you to a more quicker result of getting drunk, vomiting, having nausea, or anything else. So this reason, just know this wisdom that Amanita muscaria, dry it. Drying it allows to transform the ibotenic acid into muscimol. When you do it, the dry mushroom becomes 20-30% more potent. And it's super safe to consume it, and you're going to have that very good healing and conscious effect on which all of us love and respect Amanita for. And at the same time, what can happen when you eat a fresh Amanita? And I'll share a story. So I think that was a couple of years ago. We were having a catch-up meeting in Switzerland together with Johan and Mariana Nicholson and Amanita Dreamer. That was the first time when we met. And we went for walking around the nature. And it was just, I think that was like springtime or so. Or no, sorry, it was just closer to the autumn, yeah, and it was just at that period in time when the amanitas just started to grow. So we especially went to the forest and tried to find some amanitas, and we found them. They were the very first ones, they were like very small, like not big caps. And when I found them, my personal tradition, how I consume fresh amanita, if you want to eat fresh, eat the stem. The stem, it has 20% of the psychoactive and all of the elements that the cap has. So that reason, when you eat the stem, you're going to get a boost of energy. You're going to get the connection with Amanita. But you won't have any strong side effects. This is how when I go to the nature and go gathering Amanita, where I find them, I always take the cap, but eat the stem. 1-2 stems is usually enough to get a huge boost of energy and a flow. So, but there, what I did, I ate the stems from multiple amanitas, and then when I found the first caps, I was looking and I was like, oh, they're so cute. This is the first amanita this year in Switzerland. Oh, I should show a certain respect and eat at least half of this fresh amanita. So, from my experience, I eat fresh amanitas. I know what is the effect. I don't often do it, but as I told you, prefer stems. But it's not an issue for me to eat 1-2 caps of fresh amanitas, or even 3 caps. But here, I ate just a half cap of the small cap of the fresh one, and already I started to feel a boost of energy within like 5 minutes. Then within the next half an hour, poof, poof, poof. The mind works really fast. You want to analyze, think, etc. And as I walk, I start to feel that I'm a little bit like walking drunk. So eventually, in 1 hour, I understood that my body doesn't want to keep the amanita inside. And while we're driving the car, I said, okay, let's make a stop. I need to make a spiritual prayer for the connection of the great Amanita spirit with me and this beautiful, unbelievable city and this crossroad where we made the stop. And eventually I had to throw it out from my system, as eventually it had such a high concentration of ibotenic acid. I haven't seen or tasted in other Amanita such a high concentration. And then I understood that it's actually connected, that is the first harvest, and that throughout the winter for you, the mycelium, the mushroom itself, it is gathering the potency, and of course the first ones that come out, they have even a higher amount of concentration than do the mushrooms that come later. There are of course many details which have an impact on what makes an amanita strong, that I'm sure we'll have a lot of interesting scientific researches done within the next 10 and 20 years. as eventually Amanita muscaria is still a mystical mushroom from the sense in understanding how to grow it. We cannot artificially grow it in a lab. We can artificially grow magical mushrooms, lion's mane, cordyceps, and many others, but Amanita we can't. As under the ground, it has a too complex root system connected with the plants, with the trees, with the microbiosphere. So that's why there's no soon time that you will be able to grow Amanita in a lab. And that's why fresh Amanitas and going out for yourself to gather them will still be a very, very, very cool tradition. And if you don't have an opportunity to go to the nature or to gather them, then simply just come and trust the people who are already in this topic for over 5-6 years. As me, myself, and my team, and my colleagues and friends, especially we made a website for selling Amanita inside of Europe, which has the highest quality. We're making lab tests on all of our mushrooms, and we're checking them for heavy metals and etc. etc. And the gatherers by us are people who are conscious, spiritual, and share the same values, as it's really important for Amanita. It's in which state of consciousness you gather. So at the same time, I hope that today's video will help you to understand that fresh Amanitas are not like so dangerous. Like, so you would understand, to get a deadly poison from fresh Amanitas, you need to eat about 15 kilos. You heard it right, 15 kilos. 15,000 grams of fresh Amanita. This is how much you need to eat to get a deadly poison. What will happen eventually if you eat fresh Amanita? You'll just have a journey with your consciousness. You might feel nausea, you might feel a throw up or something cleansing of your body, but you won't die physically. To physically die, you need to eat 15 kilos of fresh Amanita. I'll just tell you, if you drink, for example, if you eat 4 kilos of salt, you will die. Or if you will consume 800 grams of pure alcohol on an empty stomach, you will die. And here's 15 kilos. 15! You understand? 15! So may this number and the things and the stories that I shared me an inspiration for you of the confidence that Amanita muscaria is super safe for the physical body. And the fairy tale that you can die from it, it's a truth for the consciousness, for the mind, but not the physical body. That if you eat a lot of Amanita, your mind, your ego will die. And of course, for the mind and the ego, and for the people who are not ready to die with their mind, it's a dangerous mushroom. Don't eat it. But if you are ready to become conscious, if you want to heal, if you want to let go of old patterns that don't serve you, if you want to open up your true potential and make it clear who you are with yourself, Amanita could be a good tool for you. You know the truth. Sometimes we need just an extra boost of support and energy to really feel that confidence towards the things that we know. And may Amanita and may this video be an assistance and a help to you in this beautiful flow. And also, dear friends, subscribe. Topic of mushrooms was shadow banned by big pharmaceutical corporations. In the last 1.5 years, they shadow banned all of these topics on YouTube, and they tried to do it on other resources. So please, if you're watching this video and this topic is interesting, subscribe. Let's stay together. I'm sure the 21st century will belong to the people that work with nature and that work and focus on the connection with the soul and the higher self and the spirit. I think this is an eternal, ancient practice that our ancestors were doing on our planet 100,000 and even 100,000 and 1,000,000 years ago. And I believe the time has came back to come to the roots and to remember that we're not only this physical body, but we're something much, much more greater. And I'm not only this body, this sex, or this name, but I'm actually something more bigger, far more beyond that what even the human language can explain and what the eye can see. So Let's discover our true nature, which lies deep inside of us, and let's use our godly powers for the benefit, first of all, of our own souls, and through the happiness of our own souls, may this happiness and good news spread with everyone. Namaste, my dear friends. Always in touch.